audience, Harvard lawyer Lee. Is Brad Pitt's suit against Angelina Jolie over the family chateau and winery the next Depp v. Heard? A lot of media are saying so. Let's take a look. Newsweek is saying Brad Pitt's new legal swipe at Angelina Jolie compared to Depp v. Heard. And the Golden News is saying Brad Pitt's latest legal drama with Angelina Jolie drawing comparisons to Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard. Then Alba Waba, after Depp v. Heard, next on the stand are Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. And then finally, Mashable India, another Depp versus Heard case. Brad Pitt sues Angelina Jolie for selling her stake in their co-owned vineyard. So if this case might be the next Depp v. Heard, you definitely want to know about it. You want to know what the case is going to be about. So let's talk about that. And here are some of the comparisons I can see between them. First of all, both of them, of course, involve high-profile celebrities suing each other. And secondly, both couples started with a marriage, at least semi-happy. It seemed pretty happy for Brad and Angelina. I'm not as sure about Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard, but with a reasonably happy marriage, moved to a bad divorce, and then it was kind of unhappily ever after. And in both cases, the lawsuit stems from the aftermath of what happened after they got divorced. So, okay, what's this case about? Why is it so big and so juicy? Well, let's talk about it. Brad and Angelina bought the Chateau Miraval in Carennes, France in 2008 while they were still together. They paid $28.4 million all the way back in 2008, even when the market was tanking. Brad says he paid 60%. Angelina paid only 40%. Their plan at the time was that they would live there as a family and then they would get the winery turned around and going. Now, Brad admits that after he actually paid 60%, he gifted 10% of the winery to Angelina Jolie so that they had even shares. He says, though, that that was a contract without consideration and it's being litigated in Luxembourg to see whether or not she really gets to keep that 10%. I'm sure she's going to say it was a gift and therefore she didn't need to pay anything for it. It was just a gift, not a contract. But we don't have her answer yet. So we'll see that when we get her answer. Right now, all we got is Brad Pitt's complaint. So we'll be waiting for Angelina Jolie's side. But it's not quite as easy as Brad owned 50% and Angelina owned 50% because, you know, they're rich. They have lots of lawyers. So the way it really worked was Brad owned his part of Miraval in a company called Mondo Bongo. And Angelina owned hers as Nouvelle. Nouvelle then owned her part of Miraval. So that's really super important. I'm going to show you a diagram in just a minute about it so you can kind of think through it because that's integral to the case and to what they're fighting about. And I just want to say this, if it comes down to who picked the better name, I am definitely going with Brad because Mondo Bongo is a great name. Love that name. So Brad says when they bought this, it was kind of the mega millionaires equivalent of the money pit, that the winery was losing money hand over fist, a complete business disaster, and that he spent his time and poured time and money into turning it around, that he has devoted years of his life to making this a success. And he says it's a wild success now. Now, he says, the winery wins awards and makes millions of dollars. He says that Miraval is now worth hundreds of millions of dollars. He says because of that, like somewhere along the way, Angelina stopped giving money to the enterprise. So he kept doing it. He's now, he says, a 70% owner and she's a 30% owner, at least in terms of contribution. But here's the biggest part of the dispute between them. Brad says that the two had an understanding that neither would sell their share in Miraval to an outsider. First, they would either give the other side notice and get agreement, or they would actually offer the other side a chance to buy it first so that it never went to an outsider. Neither of them had to partner with an outsider. Now, guess what happened? Yes, of course, you guessed it. Brad says Angelina sold her half to someone without telling him. He says that she tricked him into lifting the automatic temporary restraining order that was associated with their divorce. She said she needed to do estate planning, but her real purpose, he says, was to sell it out from under him. And it wasn't just to anyone. Brad says she sold it to a Russian oligarch billionaire who's tight with Putin and owns Stoli vodka. Now, Angelina's side won't even tell Brad's side what the terms of the deal are. So it kind of reminds me of The Godfather, where the woman thinks she's sleeping next to her husband and she wakes up to find a severed horse's head right where her husband was. So Brad wakes up one day to discover he's in bed with a Russian oligarch. Brad Pitt does not mince words when it comes to Yuri Shefler, the Russian oligarch. Here's what he says. He says he gained notoriety through cutthroat business tactics and dubious professional associations, ruthless business tactics. He says he did business with Mohammed bin Salman, who is the crown prince who's been accused of murdering a journalist. Says he's close to Putin's inner circle. Officially designated by the U.S. Treasury Department as an oligarch in the Russian Federation, which I did not even know they had. You can be an official oligarch, and this guy is. So people are pouring out, he says, Stoli vodka. And even though Shefler claims he's moved the company to Latvia, nonetheless, they're pouring it out as a show of support for Ukraine. Brad says all of this together jeopardizes the reputation of the Miraval brand. He says he's had already refused to sell to Shefler when Angelina Jolie agreed to do it anyway. So this past February, Brad filed suit in Los Angeles County. As written, this sounds very one-sided in favor of Brad Pitt. But that's what you would expect at this stage, because all we have at this stage is Brad Pitt's complaint. We don't have Angelina's answer yet, and we don't have an answer from Yuri Shefler yet. That'll be coming soon. But we can already guess what some of the key issues are going to be. First of all, Yuri Shefler and his companies, I guarantee you, are going to argue that the California courts have no jurisdiction over them. So we'll see that argument when they file. Angelina Jolie is going to argue that she had the right to sell her shares to anybody she wanted to, because apparently there was no written agreement that she couldn't do that. Now, from the way, I want to show you this chart so you can understand. I did a chart for you thinking it would be a little bit easier to understand. So, let's see if I can get this turned around for you. Okay, so take a look at this. I hope this isn't backwards now. But Miraval's at the top. Now, it wasn't even, remember I said lots of lawyers, rich people. So it wasn't even that Angelina and Nouvelle owned 50% or that Mondo Bongo owned 50% of Miraval. No, it couldn't be that easy. Nouvelle owned half of Quimicum. Mondo Bongo owned half of Quimicum. And then Quimicum, and I have no idea if I'm saying that right, owned Miraval. So what Brad is saying is that what she did, and let me show you another graph I did so you can see this. So Angelina did not sell her shares in Miraval to Yuri Shefler. She sold her shares in Nouvelle. So that's super important here because, you see, there was apparently an agreement in Quimicum that the two wouldn't sell to an outsider and they would give each other the right of first refusal. But you see, she didn't sell that. She sold this instead. And so the question is whether or not, or the question will be, we'll soon see when they file the answer, but that's going to be, I think, a big question in the case. Was she entitled to sell these shares because she had never agreed not to sell them? So what she couldn't sell was these shares without permission or without giving Brad the first right of refusal. So I think that is going to be, I hope that was helpful. I think that's going to be probably the primary issue in the case. So now our question is going to be, what's going to happen in the case? We won't know until Angelina Jolie files her answer what her positions are going to be. There is certainly no need to start popping your popcorn for trial yet, because we are a long way away from that. But there's going to be plenty of excitement in all the pleadings, because we're going to be finding out facts as it goes. There may be depositions. I know, I hope so. And if all else fails, I think I have the perfect plan for Brad. This is how he can exact his revenge on Yuri Scheffler. He sells his shares in the winery to Amber Heard, completing the circle. So thanks for watching. I will look forward to giving you more videos on this topic. Please be sure in the comments, if you're really into this topic, let me know. I might do a kind of long version of what the complaint is all about, going into a lot of detail. Let me know if that interests you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.